Welcome to Veteach. In today's session, we will be discussing about assembly language program development tools. So far we had seen all the directives, instructions and what are those that are being required. Now, what are the tools that helps us to write a program and in what way the assembler is going to do a particular task. To know this, we need to learn this program development tools. The first tool that is there here for an assembly language program is editor. So editor is a place which allows us to create our file. So editor is a place which allows us to create a file that contains assembly language instructions, and it always stores the program in ASCII codes for the letters and the numbers whichever we have been writing in successive RAM locations. And when we save the program which has been written in this file, we will call this as source file. Remember, whatever the program that we have been writing in editor, that we will call it as a source file. Once the source file is ready, we will be moving this file to the assembler, and source file will always have an extension .asm. Remember, the source file will be always having an extension .asm. The next tool, as the source file is ready, we need to move on to pass this source file to assembler. So here the assembler is used to translate the assembly language mnemonics of the instructions to the corresponding binary codes. The first thing is that once the source file is ready, we need to give it to the assembler. This assembler where it converts the assembly language mnemonics to the required machine understandable binary codes. And when we run this assembler, it will be able to generate two files to us. The first file is .obj file, the other file is .lst file. We will call it as object file and listing file. And here always this object file contains the binary codes for the instructions and the addresses that are being given in the program. And whereas the list file will always indicate the type or the syntax errors that are being there in writing the instructions. And after generating the obj file and list file, we need to pass them to the linker tool. So linker, the term itself says it is going to link several object files into one large object file, and it is more convenient for us to divide the large program into small modules, and each program will be individually written, tested and debugged. And when all the modules are been working together as an object module that can be linked and to find the large functioning of the program. And this link file always, as we discussed, it contains binary codes for all the modules, and this link map file contain even the addresses information of all the linked files, and the linkers that are available for our 8086 come with TASM or MASM assemblers. And once these link files are linked, then the files that will come as an output with an extension .exe file. And once this .exe file is generated by the linker, we will send it to the locator, where this locator is going to assign the specific addresses from where the object file is loaded into the memory, and locator will be called to be as execute to bin, which converts the .exe file to .bin file. So here .bin is nothing but binary file. So once it is turned or changed to .bin file, we are moving on to debugger. the term itself says it allows the object file or loads the object file into the memory, and as well it executes the program and troubleshoot or debugs it. And it always looks to the contents of the register as well as memory locations once the program is being executed, and it allows us to change the contents in the register as well as in the memory location and rerun the program also. So .bin file is going to be sent to the debugger, and it is continuously monitored in a sequential manner, and there is a chance for us even to change or modify in the register content or in the memory location content, by which we can rerun the program. And we can also set breakpoints whenever they are being required in order to update the information, and this breakpoint can also be set as well as it can also stop the current execution. And here the debugger helps to find whether there are any syntax errors that are being occurred or any problem that is going to be occurred during the execution of the program. And here the debugger always comes with DOS. So DOS commands will be utilized here, and once the debugging is being done, we are going to send the file to the emulator. So emulator, the term itself says it is a mixture of hardware and software. It is usually used to test and debug the particular program when we need to use or implement it in an external environment. So this emulator will be loading the file, and it is going to run the program, examine the program, and even it can modify the contents if there are required modifications are there. And this emulator is going to have a particular feature that is used either to the memory or the memory on the prototype, which is needed to be debugged. So these are the 6 elements that are used as the basic tools for assembly language programming. First, you need to understand that we will be having an editor file where we are going to write our program, and that program will be specified with an extension and the program will be specified with an extension .asm, and this .asm file, once it is been written, it will be sent to the assembler in order to generate object file and listing file. And once the object file and listing file are generated by this assembler, we will be moving on to the linker. So where this linker is going to link all the object files and makes them as an executable file. So .exe file will be generated in the linker, and after linker we will be passing on to the locator tool, where this file is going to convert it as executable file .exe file, and this .exe file will be sent to the debugger, where it converts the exe file, cross checks with DOS commands and sends it to the emulator, or else simply the debugger will be able to debug the program, check for the errors. If at all there are no errors, it is going to execute the program in the DOS region, and it is going to show us the result. And the result can be analyzed using an emulator, where I will be concentrating on software as well as hardware approach. When external environment is being used, then emulator will be helpful for us to analyze whether the result can be applicable or not. So these are the basic tools that are required for any assembly language program development. So thank you.